sensitive to these sounds. Plant down and lotus in a tempted ground. Knowing if I fail to lift the veil, I'm hellbound. Journey through the fate of all the hate I found. Done laying out the laments for these lames, big clowns. We can still throw down pound for pound if you choose to drag my name through the mud with no bounds. Scars go deep, but the passion can shift. Trying to find a balance between anger and bliss. Searching for my purpose when success is a myth. I thought I knew the gist of the plot, but it came with a twist. Had it all mapped out, but none of the pieces fit. Abandonment issues got me doing the split. Realizing I didn't really need what I wish. Got sick of getting tricked into giving the devil a kiss. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me under respect. Story to tell as soon as I break out of this shell. Welcome to the side of hell. They got me.
Hello everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome to Portal to the Paranormal, and you're watching Thriller Podcast Live. Oh, haven't we got a treat for you? Oh, I'm so excited about this one. This evening we have a very special guest. He is a spirit medium and producer. He has starred in TV show The Ghost Finders. He has also appeared in Paranormal 911 and A Haunting, the new series of The Haunting. Let's welcome, shall we, Mr. Rob Thompson. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'm so excited to have you on, Rob.
Calling England, coming England. Cheerio.
Oh, gosh.
Hello. How are you, darling?
Fantastic. Thank you. I feel really honoured. Thank you for joining us.
Well, I don't know if I deserve the big send up, but thanks anyway, sweetheart. It's nice. And it's so good to see you again. It's been a while. It's like,
I know. I think it was the Festival of the Unexplained that I last saw you.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
And that was a lot of fun. Apart from it being in March, which honestly it didn't faze me at all. I said to Karen, I said to Penny actually, I would have gone out to see your history tour in the sleet and snow and rain and anyway. Yeah.
Oh, we got a few shout outs. Tim is saying, "Hi guys, what's up, Rob?"
Let's have a look here.
Oh, I know we've got a few people watching.
Tim Comer. Oh, hello. He's lovely.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a friend of yours.
Yeah, he is. He's a lovely chap. They're all nice. Well, I mean, and that's just the paranormal community for you, isn't it? Really,
It is.
Drama aside. Every family has drama, so
they
it's
do.
not surprising that the normal community would be, anything like that. But I mean, it's an incredible community. One thing that I've noticed a lot as well, especially here, is really if there's someone in need, like a house burns down or someone has an accident or something, it's like everyone rallies around like warp speed and is helping them. And that just really gets me here, and I've never been prouder to be a part of this paranormal community, which is kind of one. There's no sort of like borders.
Paranummunity, I think they call it.
But yeah, the reason I say that is that there's some people that throw that phrase around like they're getting paid by the throw, and kind of talk the talk but don't really walk the walk. But we won't go there. Well, we just did. Never mind.
Right, so we will touch on the Festival of the Unexplained, but first of all, I would love to chat about 9 seasons of the Ghost Finders. Now that's some serious ghost busting going on there, isn't there, Rob?
11 actually. That's so you're
I stand corrected.
Yeah, no, you're good. Really sort of the devil's work and hands and all that stuff. And we're filming we're about almost halfway through filming season 12. And it's just the best cast and the best crew that we've ever had. Amazing people, incredibly talented people, all coming together as one unit to make the best possible programming and do the best possible investigation. And it's just always when the vibes are up like that, you just can't do anything but succeed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm very blessed to have those. They're the real stars, you know, of the show. You know, like all the crew and the cast as well. But so yeah, that's coming out in September, and we're out at the moment. I know for the last we just recently became available streaming on Amazon Prime,
Yes.
in the UK.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I've started getting messages from, you know, fellow Brits. And, they're like surprised because when I say, well, where are you from? And I'm like, Wiltshire. Are you sure? And they said, well, I can be from Wiltshire and not talk like that, my liver.
Yeah, so it's the Ghost Finders marathon, really, isn't it? You could just sit there and just stream one after another. And some of the places that you've been to, oh my goodness me. I mean, these are some of the older ones, the Penthurst Asylum, the Wayne Hotel, Homestead, and they are full. I mean, the people that have passed through them, the paranormal energy that's gone through the historical places that you've been to, they must be wired. I mean, your spider senses must be really proper tingling there. And how do you feel when you step into these locations? And what is the sensations that you get? How does it work for you, Rob?
So, we're a little different than our MO is different than, you know, some shows. We're not a paranormal group. So, you know, we don't see each other as often. So being a paranormal show exclusively, it's really about telling the story of what happened while we were there, you know, more than, for example, with a paranormal group, they'd be more focused on what did you get, and not how did you get there.
Yeah.
For us, we always come with positive intention, which I think hopefully most people do, paranormal group or TV show or otherwise. But we also will put together some kind of ceremony, like even a gift giving ritual or a friendship ritual, which will be performed by, you know, our witch, and that's Megan Deputy, and she's absolutely amazing. So she's our catalyst. What I mean by that is, you know, a lot of spirits get, I mean, you've got to understand that thousands and thousands of people come through these buildings. And so, you know, at some point, and they're not always, you know, like nice as a pie, let's just put it that way, unfortunately. So these poor spirits that you know, you don't know who's been before you. So, you know, we figure to sort of set the record straight wherever we go, we'll start off by doing that friendship ritual. And then spirit's more like, you know, instead of, oh God, here we go again, you know, and it's more, okay, they're starting out doing something for us, you know. So there's an exchange. It's not about pulling in, you know, your hordes of equipment and barking orders, expecting spirit to, you know, jump through hoops like a circus animal. So it's absolutely pivotal on respect and on, you know, more flies with honey. So that approach works evidently. So for me, it can be overwhelming. I will. Whereas I used to go into a location and sort of really willy-nilly before I started getting proper mediumship master teacher guidance and spiritual guidance to hone my skills, my gift. I would just wander in there willy-nilly. Very silly. I'm rhyming. Oh I got to stop reading Dr. Seuss. Anyway, I've got to stop reading. Grinch. So we go in. I'm like sometimes overwhelmed. It's like, you know, and you feel like 2, 3, 4, 10 spirits like honing in on you, and me. You know, who are you? You know, and it's like can be like I walked. That happened to me actually at Penhurst. The second time I was at Penhurst, we did a season there for season 6, I think it was, or 7.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just overwhelming. And I felt like invaded. I felt like I'd been, what's the word?
Overcome.
Yeah.
They're all trying to get you. You're like a beacon, aren't you?
Yeah. And so I turned around and I walked back outside because I felt nausea. And I'm like trying to, you know, get it out of my system. But of course, it wasn't stomach related. It was the nausea. And did, you know, some rituals, bubbled up and put on some, you know, protective energy. I always carry with me the black tourmaline, the rose quartz, and some other charms and signets. And it was fine. But I think it's just really understanding. I've grown a lot since then.
Yeah.
I have a mediumship master teacher that I'm a student, very proudly a student of, Diet Renee, who is an incredible medium in her own right and does lessons, and actually certified under Lisa Williams, the British TV medium. So she's amazing, and that was a big part of learning how to shield from energy. You know,
it's like, can you turn it off? Can you be like at a soccer game with your kid and you got a reading from the mother next to you and you're like, oh, can you just bugger off? You know, I'm doing something right now. Can you turn it off, Rob?
Yeah, you know what? I really, for the most part, my spirit guide Josi, who was my she's also British, who was my babysitter when I was like 2 years old or so, and she will, for the most part, be like, not a good time. No, but come back, you know, here's a ranger, you know, and yeah, that happens, hopefully, unless she's not around, you know, which she has an afterlife too, right? But yeah, that happens sometimes, and I just like silence it out as best I can. No, there's no on or off switch. So
I was going to say, because you've got to have a life too, haven't you? So it must be difficult to juggle what's going on. And I was thinking to myself, you know, you had this gift from a very young age. I remember you telling us when you was doing your speech at the Festival of the Unexplained. And I know you've probably gone over this story 1,000 times, so I don't want to keep asking the same questions.
No, go ahead. That's fine. Everyone does.
I mean, you was a child. I see it as a gift. But then you look at people like Tessa Del Zoppo and Henry Tyler. They had traumatic experiences as a child that triggered the gift. Do you think, from somebody that has not had any like psychic ability through their adult life, do you think it's something that you can home in and, you know, you can train yourself to become a spirit medium, or do you have to have a certain amount of sensitivity, or that you have to have it, should I say?
Well, that's a really good question. And I just want to say hi, Tim, hi, Jamie, hi, Jenny, hi, Daniel, and Karen.
Oh, yes. Sorry, guys. I got all ghosts.
Karen, darling, and
hi, Karen.
Jacqueline. Well, that's a really good question. So one of my true inspirations and a dear friend, her name is Teal Swan. And she really explained it in a way that I could really understand, and I think a lot of mediums can understand. And that is the ability. How do you get that? How you know, is everyone just born, you know, with that gift? I think everyone's born with the ability to develop a gift, more or less, but choose not to, or it doesn't come to them to. For a lot of mediums, and this isn't everyone, but they've had to develop their ability by really in a sort of sense of self-preservation. Now, what I mean by that is, if as a child, one of the parents, for example, is one or both in a hostile situation, if they're growing up in a hostile environment, then it's almost like they start to develop unwittingly the ability to sense whether it's okay to walk on the rice paper, or is mom gonna or dad gonna bite my head off, if I, and I mean, I think to more or lesser degrees that's really where it stems.
Yeah.
And in extreme cases where there's physical violence and emotional violence, that happens, I think that we, as a child, we further hone in on those abilities, because for us, that's our lighthouse. That's making sure that when we walk into the room, it's not a bad time. We don't get a slipper coming at us, or and that's where it really started for me, because my mom had so much, you can imagine, raising a single child, and I take my hat off to all, single parents and parental figures. But there are kids who now are experiencing, hostile environment, or maybe they interpret it as a hostile environment, and they literally are inclined to develop extra strong senses to detect if it's okay to ask mom for an ice cream. It could be something as harmless as that, or as, is it okay for me to leave my room now because dad came home drunk, and row bang bang. And that was more the case with me. My stepfather was an alcoholic, and so he sort of like aggravated that situation. So I feel that that's what really started to hone my abilities sort of for me subconsciously. And as I said, that's not always the case, but that was definitely the case for me.
Yeah, some people have a near-death experience, don't they? And then that's it.
I had one of those too. When my second trip to Egypt, and I got, well, their equivalent of Delhi belly, only really worse, and I got dysentery. Yeah. So, and then I passed out, and I came to, and I'm bouncing up and down in the back of this Toyota pickup truck, going through the desert, and I was like, well, either I'm dead and this is hell, or or I don't know, or maybe I've been kidnapped by assassins, an Egyptian. Well, no, it wasn't either. And I knew it would be kidnapped because no one would want me. And yeah, that was, I suppose, within a few hours of that, I coded apparently, and I was under massive dehydration, so the old ticker stopped for a little while. Just not for a while. Now I woke up and I saw a white painted ceiling with a straw hut sort of ceiling around it, and a little gecko or some lizard on the ceiling just staring at me. That was the first thing as I came to, I saw, and I'm like, but everything felt a bit different. So there's it's not really necessarily one thing. I think it's a combination of factors that just like everything in life shape us into who we're meant to be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, ladies, Jamie Lynn has just asked a question. If I may, I'll read it out. When one sees faces and figures in natural things such as trees and clouds, and they are sensitive and are they
Paraquilia.
paraquilium, or
Yeah.
are they truly their gift?
Yeah, so that's interesting because in a way, great question, Jamie Lynn, because a skeptic would see a cloud and it's a cloud.
Yeah.
Right. Just like they would look at it, maybe a photo that you or I would look at and maybe, question it a little bit more than just a instant dismissal. If you wanted to, I suppose she's asking my opinion. My opinion, because of course I'm not the paranormal police. I can't say what is and what isn't. That it's almost like you'd be cloud scrying if you started seeing faces or you started seeing things. If they specifically meant something to you, I think it could be a combination of the two. I think if there's something in your subconscious that you're already thinking about, then you will grid matrix it into something of relevance when you, for example, look at the cloud. But
it could be Mother Mary and the pancake.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's also, I think, a lot to be said for messages coming from that. People do water scrying, tea leaves, you name it. So really anything that can form a random pattern that you can make something of, why shouldn't that be possibly a universal indicator or a message?
Possibility.
Yeah.
Like a feather when a spirit is present. Yeah.
Because think about it, if you were spirit, how would you make yourself known? If the universe wanted you to hey, remember about the elephant, the elephant, you were going to take the kids to see the elephants, and I'm looking up and I see a cloud and it looks like an elephant. Oh, now that happened. That happened. It wasn't I'm taking them to see an elephant, because I wouldn't go. I would be seen dead going to a zoo, which I think is a prison. But that's just me. And it was a stuffed animal that I knew my daughter wanted. So that it's crazy. All kinds of things come in shapes and forms. It's almost like, I think we really are prone to dismissing them. Like, for example, when that you're thinking about a certain person and that your song, maybe it's an XXX of yours, and then your song, as it was back then, comes on, and you're like, yeah, that's not creepy at all.
Well, that's my dad's song when he passed and things like that, and you're thinking about him. Yeah, definitely. I was going to ask that kind of question, actually. It's like I've seen a few mediums or spirit mediums. And one thing that really runs true is that somebody with a gift, they want to help you. So they're not going to charge the earth, but spirit medium's got to eat, you know what I mean? So they will charge something.
Oh, we do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. I have no idea.
I'm just stating the obvious. So, if they're charging too much for starters, you always think to yourself, if they got a gift, they shouldn't be like charging too much. It had to be reasonable for everyone. And also, there's also they will be truth. They have truth in the question, like you've just said. Like if you were to say to me, for example, pigeon or pigeon fancier, that would come across to me. It's like, well, that is random. But to me, that would be like, oh, my dad was a pigeon fancier, which he was. Or if you were to say to me, a green wedding, a ruby in a wedding ring, that to me would be personal. So you spot on. So that's another good sign for a good medium, a true medium.
And I think you recognize which of the two it is.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, if there was a time when you couldn't turn the bloody radio on without, oh God, what's her name? Hello, it's me.
Adele.
I mean, God, there are other artists, like, could we just, I mean, literally. So, I mean, you might have won $10 if you said, I bet you if I turn the radio on within 5 minutes, Adele comes on. If it was someone really more obscure, and you're like, well, Lionel Richie, who also did Hello,
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. That would be more, oh, wow, that's pretty crazy, you know. So
Yeah.
there are elements that affect it. Hello to Belgium. I love Belgium. Hello, Ward.
Yeah.
I lived near Belgium for a while. I used to go to Antwerp when I was living in Amsterdam. So hello back to Belgium. Good old
Hello, Ward. Oh, Raymond. Hello, Raymond. Good friend of mine.
Raymond.
Yeah.
Man, good old Ray. How are you doing, Ray?
So what advice would you give to somebody? Obviously, you're one of the best spirit mediums that I know. What advice would you give to anyone who's not been to a medium? What to prepare for? Would they need to take something? Would need to think about loved ones throughout the day? What would you suggest?
Well, so just to backtrack and answer your question about charging. I know that there were back. It's sort of, I think, something that was really sort of started by one TV show a while back that I'm not going to mention because you know, mates and everything. But yeah, I mean that it's very easy for a TV celebrity that's on network television and getting paid $50,000 an episode to say, well, you know, anyone who charges anything for anything is a crook and a fraud. You shouldn't, well, not bloody calling my plumber back again because he always gives me a bill at the end of it. You know, I'm not going to, well, that's different. How is it different? If your time is never retrievable, so anything your time that's taken away from your family, from you being with your kids, from you doing something else, okay? Because you actually, believe it or not, only get X amount of time per life. We don't know how long that is. We have no guarantee. It could be another day, it could be another year, it could be hopefully another 20 years or so. So it's quantitative value, is how I look at it. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. And I'm not entirely motivated by, there's always someone who comes for, a reading, and if I'll overhear them saying, oh, I don't think I have that, I'll give them a reading, and just give it away. I've done that, but oddly enough, yes, I I do have mortgage and
you're very reasonable.
Well, I try and sort of middle price point it, for a 20, it's different when I'm in person, but I do a lot of my Zoom readings are sort of about £60 for 20-25 minutes. I always run over. I'm not a clock watcher. And then for the 45 minutes, which usually ends up being more than an hour, it's like £100. So that's and I've seen, realizing that I've not John Edward, nor would I really want to be in that position where I'm that busy that I can't help more people. So that I found for me is a sweet spot, and there are people who are able to charge less, and God bless them.
But then that's an affordable amount for everyone. I think that's what I was getting at as well. It's not as if it's astronomical like some of them are.
Yeah, and hopefully, as well. And I had a lovely lady that she knitted me a scarf. It was like a Doctor Who scarf. Tom Baker, yes, fourth Doctor. Would you like a jelly baby? Which. And I was like, going to give you a free. Well, I'm not going to take payment. Well, then I'll give you a free reading. So it's your time, because that was weeks knitting that, and I love too. You know what I mean?
One question. Sorry to go off subject, but I am dying to ask you. I watched one of your YouTube videos, the Rockwood Mansion. I think his name was Joseph Shipman. He was a banker and he owned the house. It was a while back, I think. And I tell you what, it really did. It really got my paranormal juices flowing, because you walk into that place and all the fixtures and fittings and furniture and all the original people, the clothing, now all that kind of stuff in there. There's one thing I love about a location is when you've got all that there, the original stuff, that must be like a hive for you. Do you feel that there's more paranormal energy in those kind of places? Like,
that place was bonkers. It was bananas. I mean, it was like we were setting up, and I'm just like looking at the SLS camera to see if it's working and all the rest of it. And I go to tell someone, can you just get out of the? And it's showing someone sat in an armchair like this, and I went, "Oh, hello." This is like 3 p.m, that they're still bringing the cameras and equipment and stuff in. And you can't make this. I mean, you could make this shit up, but I didn't. And as soon as I said hello,
oh wow!
And I still do, like that. That for me is a nugget in a when you're panning for gold. That's like, God, like to get that reaction. That's the stuff you don't hear enough about. It's not. It doesn't have to be. Yikes, bro! Did you hear that shit? Yikes! Yeah, I'm a paranormal investigator, and I made contact. Oh my God! I better run out of here. What the hell are you doing there then? If you like in the first place, so it's a nugget of gold. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. That place was extraordinary because they had they were hoarders. This family, so they were well-to-do hoarders, and so they never threw anything out. So that the ski socks that they wore, they had the skis, they had just all the milk and cheese churns and just all kinds of stuff, original stuff. So I totally think that the vibes go into all of that. Just like with energy that comes from experiences, positive and negative experiences that happen to the people over the years that are residing in a building, almost like magnetic data going onto a hard drive that goes into the bricks and mortar. And I think and that's what I felt. A lot of residual energy is like that. So there was a lot of both. It's a great episode. We actually did an episode we never released after that. So we're going to bring that out of the vaults.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah,
that's a treat, isn't it? A real treat. It's not just about the spirits; it's about the locations and the history there. And it's even if you don't get nothing, you've been there, you've done that, and you've walked in the footsteps of those people that have lived there and breathed it. It's so exciting.
It is. And there were things that I was coming out with that Phil, just the nicest guy ever, just incredible. Phil Nord, the curator there. I don't know if he's still there, but it's been a few years. And he said, what you are telling me, just so you know, I knew. Nobody else in this of my staff knows this. Okay, what you've just said. And all I simply said was that I'm seeing Edward, and he's leaning on the wall like this to me, and he's being a bit, he's rowdy. And I'm like, so, I mean, I've got to admire his taste, but
he changed his name because he met royalty, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did. He in actual fact was, that makes any difference, but he was gay back then, of course, in 1800s. I mean, that was not something that people
Right.
came out, openly as, especially the aristocracy.
Yeah.
So when I told him that, he just lit up like a Christmas tree. He was just like, it's not even written anywhere. and there's
Spot
one,
on. There
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Spot on.
So, and then he did a little test. He was like, I've got a test for you. And I was like, oh, well, okay, here we go. And he was like, one of these things, these objects on the table, I'm ruining it, the whole episode for you.
No, please.
And he's like, it was like a Sesame Street. Yeah, one of these things is kind of the same. And there are 6 historic items here, and one of them is not. And they all look old as the hills. And I'm just looking, not that I wanted to cheat, but I was just like, I think it was a book, it was a necklace, it was a goblet of some kind, and it was a doll and something else. And I just looked at them all. This like heavy old porcelain doll with cracks and stuff. And I picked them all up one by one, and I just felt the vibrational energy coming from them. And they all felt like, all but 2 of them felt like they were on the same energy, vibrational energy as the house, but 2 didn't. And I picked the 2 right out. One was an antique doll that didn't come, that literally just came in the day before for this test. And then the other one was it was a book that's come from a library from I think Phil's house. So that was nice. That's always nice. And it doesn't necessarily matter, even if I got it wrong, which I could have, because ego is not a part of this. It's really more. A good medium doesn't need validation. It's not a game show where you went studio audience. It's more a case of a lot of the time being able to accurately interpret what you are feeling and what you're shown, what you're hearing, so clairaudiently, clairvoyantly, and all your clairs working in sync to get the right message through. And of course, that's no science, as it's also, some spirit might have challenges in getting you the right information. So it's sort of like a 3-way game of charades sometimes. That's hopefully you have other information to go on, and you sort of like put a pin in something and then move on. But in that case, it was just really easy because it was a vibrational thing. It was a sensory vibrational thing coming from my hand.
Some of them, they don't want to play ball, do they? These spirits, they see like people coming investigating all the time, and they're thinking, "Oh God, really? Another one?"
I think I had they loved the British. That the family, they loved the British. So back in that time,
they were beautiful girls. Beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I think that gave me the edge. That place is incredible. It's in Delaware. It's called Rockwood Manor.
Manor. Yeah.
So
amazing. What was your favorite out of all of them on Ghost Finders? What was your most riveting experience in all of the places that you've been to? I bet there's a few.
Well, that's tough. In 12 years making this show, I've been one of the most unusual, I think, was the Winchester Mystery House, which I really felt like it was the physical embodiment of a great mind that was in total disarray, and just scrambled from one tragedy after another, and the pressure of Sarah Winchester, who suddenly, when her husband died, became the instant, by default, heiress of the Winchester Repeating Arms Company, which one of the biggest, if not the biggest, industrial company of the time. And of course, it was unheard of for a woman to be running, to be at the head of a company like that.
Yeah.
And so suddenly, on top of everything else, and her losing her child and her losing her husband, suddenly she's this heiress that has this humongous industrial empire that she's technically in charge of. So I think it just drove her. She believed very much, under the advice of a medium, that she should continue building on the house, and that if she did, it would distract the spirits from. I said I disagree. I said I think it's so the spirits get completely lost. I got lost like 4 times in that place. And then I went to open a door, and this is in San Jose in California. I went to open a door, and it wouldn't open. And I was just like, "Oh, can you help me with this door?" And she was like, "No." This is the tour guide. And I said, "Why?" And she was like, "Because if I do, you'll fall out of the building." I'm like, "Why is there a door going out of the building 2 floors up?" And she was just like, "Why are there stairs going up to nothing?" And I thought it was like, it had that incredible funhouse effect, but it had so many different energies there that you just couldn't grasp it. And we were there around Christmas, so they'd literally tens of thousands of people going through that place, every season. And so that would be where I probably got the least like on camera evidence, if you want. And I hate that word too, but findings, let's call it findings. But by way of personal experiences, that episode was extraordinary. So we did that with Nick Groff from Deathwalker and Groff Adventures, and class act guy. He and Justin and their team, who are now busy making season 4 of Deathwalker, are definitely class act, and a class KLAES, because Dan Class is my buddy, who's also coming back over this year.
He is, isn't he?
Unexplained. So see what I did there? Class act. Yeah. All right.
Very good.
So I think that it's not always about what you literally have by way of video, because at the end of the day, we live with AI, especially. Anything can be faked, and I think that you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. There are episodes where we've gotten such compelling video, full-bodied apparitions, that people are like, "Oh, come on, there's no way that's real," and and I've said before it's aired, I know people are going to think this is crazy. And it's just you tell the story, you show what you got, and you let people make their own minds up about it.
100%. You're always going to get people that try and debunk you and that, but as long as you feel, when we put our evidence out there, we feel it's real, this is what happened, pick the bones of that, but that's what happened.
Right. Yeah. And I think one of the things as well that makes the Ghost Finders such a strong show, and I don't know if I mentioned, but we're on Amazon Prime in the UK now. But what makes the Ghost Finders such a strong show is our cohesion as a team, and we we know what we have to do, and we get in there and we do it. People ask me all,
what's that? People ask me all the time if Sweet Spring episodes is real without
with what? So Sweet Springs episode, which you can catch on either Paraflix or on Spirit Channel on Roku. That was a great episode. That's up there in answer to your question. That's really up there because our director of photography, it was his first gig, I think, with us, Jose. Not really a hardened skeptic, but kind of on the fence until the end of that shoot, as he had some kind of a psychic attack happen to him. And as Steve said, and Steve's one of the cast on the Ghost Finders, and people they ask, was that real? And I suppose it's fair game all round, and people say yeah. But people also ask me as a medium, do you really believe in ghosts? To me, that's like that's crazy. It's like asking a mechanic if he believes that there's a thing called a combustion engine, and I just like, I get it, but I don't. I think really you're entitled to everyone's entitled to their opinion. But if I was to go out there and embellish anything, I just feel like other people just wasting my time and everyone else.
You guys have got great energy as well. You've got Megan. She's an eclectic witch, isn't she?
She is an eclectic witch, and this season she's on 2 or 3 episodes, and covering for her mostly while she's not available, because she's a Hollywood makeup artist as well. She's working on a feature with a couple of A-list names that you would know immediately. I won't mention. And so she's not always available. So Patty Negri is our witch from Ghost Adventures, and Patty is just a absolute sweetheart. She is the nicest, kindest, most extraordinary, one of the most extraordinary women I've ever met and worked with. So she's on a few episodes this year. So we're about halfway through filming the season. We've got 3 more episodes, I think, to film. So she's on, and then Dustin Parry is going to be joining us as well this season on an episode. Dustin is legend. He's one of the kindest, sweetest, most genuine TV paracelebs you could ever meet. So unassuming and very humble, and just as authentic as apple pie.
Oh,
he's also a pie expert.
Is he?
But you'll have to ask him about that.
You want to be careful with those witches on a full moon, though, Rob.
Well,
sky cladding.
In northeast Pennsylvania, you're lucky if you see the bloody thing half the time. Especially when there's forest fires in Canada. Going like, but
take 2 robes. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, sky cladding. That's what they do, don't they?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Build that fire.
No. Wait. Say no more. Say no more. And not as good as a wink to a blind bat.
All right, let's get straight to the nitty gritty. We're going to play a little little clip here. We're going to talk about the Festival of the Unexplained. God. Here we go.
That was really powerful stuff. Whoever did the editing on that must be
right?
Yeah, I tell you what, really looking forward to that, to the upcoming event. So glad to be coming back for it as well, because all those people, I know all of those chappies, and just about all of them, and they're just absolute sweethearts and incredibly gifted investigators in their own right. But yeah, Dave Schrader is I've worked gigs with him. He's just larger than life. He's one of these people that you just literally meet once, never gonna forget. And and really all of them. Sort of Daryl. Yeah. I think it's going to be really nice as well. That it's going to be nice and hot and toasty because September, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's going to be great fun. I'm so excited. I'm buzzing. Because we're there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We've got the whole caboodle. And you're staying in that beautiful Bosworth Hall. Oh my gosh, isn't it breathtaking?
It is. I can remember my reaction seeing my room when I opened the door, and I've stayed in hotels all around the world, and I've been around the world quite a bit, and it was really like nothing I'd ever experienced, and it's just an extraordinarily. It's one of those places that doesn't. I didn't feel anything deeply, horribly negative or anything, but I did feel a lot. I picked up a lot of stuff when we did the private. The private ghost hunts, and it was like an ocean of love pouring in from above, just because I didn't see a sad face or an angry face the whole 3 days. Everyone was smiling from ear to ear, having a blast, and kudos to Karen for
Karen. Tickets still available. She says, I've managed to sell you 2, Karen, to my friend Rob, my other friend Rob.
Karen is, and Karen, what can I say about Karen? I don't even know where to start, but maybe I'll save some of that for my slot on the Friday night.
She's good.
Yeah, and really a pioneer, because no one else in the UK is doing paracons on that scale anyway. So be there, there. I know I've got like 8 or 9 people that have already said that they're coming, that they've got their tickets, and people also that from my school days, back in the early 1800s, I haven't seen for a long time, and so it's going to be an interesting reunion as well out there.
So you'll be doing platform mediumship, won't you?
I will be doing readings. I'll be doing a gallery on the Friday night, and I'll be doing readings throughout the weekend at my table, private one-on-one readings, which you can actually book in advance now, because that was the only thing. Last time we ran out of, I think I forget how many we did. It was just back to back. People bring me coffee, keep me going. But now, just to make it sort of fair, we thought we'll make that available. So if you go to spiritmedium.com and you look on my schedule and you punch in the dates for I think it's labeled for the readings, then it will come up. I'm looking forward to the whole thing. It's a great location. Last year we had some incredible speakers. This year, no exception. Same thing too. And I'm really super excited to see Neil again. Neil
Story. He's one of my favorites. That man can chat, can't he? He's brilliant.
Yes,
wealth of knowledge.
He'd invited me to join him for a Cuban cigar and a cognac, and then a spell in the sauna. So I'll definitely take him up on the first 2 don't know. You'll have to see about the rest. But
He's let me rub his mustache. His moustache.
He's what?
He's let me rub his moustache.
Oh my God! I wonder what you said. Jesus, get out.
Yeah,
the handlebars.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Stylish guy. Yeah, and that's what I like about it. You know, Simon Entwistle last year, he was the stories. I mean, and the same with Neil. I said to Neil, "You've got the right last name," and the history of everything really sort of puts you there. So it's a great combination of. So there ends my endorsement advertisement for the Festival of the Unexplained 2023.
Penny Morgan blew me away. I mean, the way she tells a story, you can just picture it in visions through your head. The way she reels it off, you get lost.
Oh, she brings you there. She brings you there, and you know, like I said, she took us on a tour. You know, we had a little bit like rain, you know what I mean, and nothing, and that was in March last year. I'll tell you what, I was hanging on to her every word. Extraordinary author, amazing historian, and an incredible. Not surprising that you see her all over the TV there in the UK, and because she's a wealth of knowledge.
She rocks that red lipstick as well.
She does rock that red lipstick. She does. She really does. Yeah.
And the Costello twins blew me away. Took me to another planet. They really did.
Costello twins. Oh my goodness! I like so hope they're going to be there this year. If not, you know, visit and come say hi, because they are just extraordinarily gifted. Just the epitome of what you think of when you think psychic twins, you know, and their books are amazing as well. I gotta tell you, gotta say it. Rachel Ashman is a superhero. I don't know how she does it, but the way she gets everything, fires put out last year, like stuff, anything comes up, she's in it, and she's on it, all over it.
She's smoking as well, isn't she? I mean, I'm not that way inclined.
I don't know. I thought she'd given up.
No, I mean, smoking hot.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, they all are. They all are. Penny has chosen our secret historic day trip location this year, says Karen.
Yeah, Penny's chosen it. It's all a big secret.
It's a big secret.
Yep. Isn't it?
Yep. And
I tell you what, with all this UFO stuff that's going on at the moment, I bet the Costello twins are there like, told you. Flipping told you. Hey?
What happened? Did I miss something?
There's what was it in Las Vegas in March? There's a crash landing and there was aliens in someone's backyard. Have you not seen it? It's been all over the news. And then they've been shooting stuff down over Canada, haven't they? Like these little cigarette things. Oh, I love all that kind of stuff.
I better get looking, because I'm. You know what? Do you know what the funny thing is? I'm so busy making TV that I haven't got time to watch it. So it's irony, but it's true, and I should, and I want to. But yeah, when you're doing, it's like a child, you know, needs constant attention and nurturing and you know.
Then
TV shows will do that to you. So
what's the future for Ghost Finders? Do you think you'll do a UK tour? Just asking.
So I came back last March. The first time was my first time back to the UK in 17 years, and I fell in love with it all over again. I just remembered back all the things that I'd taken for granted, you know, living there and just seeing and being around the history and everything every day. That it romanced me. I was just like, oh God. And I didn't want to go back.
No.
So and seeing family again and seeing friends again that I haven't seen for years and years and years. So I didn't leave it. I came back actually 3-4 months later, purely for vacation. And the answer is yes. Next year we're going to be doing a tour of the UK at various different locations. And there'll be tickets available for a couple meet and greets along the way.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's in my sort of stomping ground, the West Country, sort of Gloucestershire, Wiltshire, and really in Oxfordshire, and looking forward to it. But yeah.
Got to line up them locations. That's what it's all about.
The history is what I miss. Because here you're sort of really never going sort of really in terms of structures, you're never really getting a structure that's more than sort of 300 years old, unless it's a sort of a cave, system like in Arizona, or whereas I think my local boozer back in Shurston is the Rattlebone. I think that's like 400 years old. Just like right there.
Yeah.
It's like our old is America's ancient. The thought of like going into a building where 20 generations of people have lived, laughed, cried, and died is crazy. It's wonderful. It's amazing. It's like a paranormal onion. You got layer after layer after layer. You've got, oh, hello. And so I miss England a lot.
Yeah. It's in America there's all the history, and such as the Civil War, or if you're going into a murder house or something like that, or somewhere with a lot of drama, where England, like, everyone's been shot everywhere. There's war everywhere, and starvation and poverty, and there's like you pick up on
not as much shot over there, which is unfortunately a sort of a daily event. Mass shootings here in the States.
I mean, like wartime and
no, I know, but yeah, I mean, absolutely. I saw there are a few locations that Most Haunted have done that are up that way, up by Bosworth, that I'd love to see this trip in September. I was hoping to get Daniel Class to come along and stay a few days after last year, but he wussied out of it. Sorry, Dan. And so hopefully he will this year. And Dan is the man. Yeah. So I'm excited.
So much more to the UK than just like London and that, but Scotland, you could go up there, couldn't you? So much.
I love Scotland. I absolutely.
Yorkshire.
Scottish are incredible people. And Yorkshire, you can't. Well, we're now farting around with, on Yorkshire, on Ilkley Batat, as I said to Rach last year. But what is your favorite country to investigate in? Thomas he's a good mate of mine, and well, gosh, yeah, don't make it too awkward. Weirdly, one of the most profound experiences that I ever had was in Egypt. Not so much that death, sort of near-death experience, but in one of the temples in Luxor, in the Valley of the Kings. And I encountered an entity there. Something similar happened to me when I was in India a few years later. But I think just because I've lived here for so long in the States, since 27 years now, I'd have to say it's the States, just because that's where I've lived. That's where I've done so far. as a medium and otherwise, America is an extraordinarily varied place when it comes to haunts, you know, so that's
A lot
my
of it's
answer.
unexplored as well, isn't it? You've got so much out there. There's elementals, crypts, and you've got the American history of the Indians, Navajo Indians, and all sorts of Indians out there that believe in all these spirit guides and things like that. Have you ever come across anything that is not human?
Sort of like former cast members. No. I really, I have had a couple of times where I suppose I would say the elementals that are, there have been a couple of times when I've come across elementals and I didn't know what kind of energy. I could only base my responses and the communication from just images and from the vibrational energy, the vibes that I was getting.
Yeah.
But it definitely wasn't human. That's a couple of times that in the last 20 years. So
You ever get really scared?
Oh God, yeah.
Have you had a proper crap your pants moment?
I have. And that's what people say to me, like, how, like, are you bonkers, like 2 a.m. in a asylum, you know? And I'm like, well, first, yes, I am. And honestly, the day that I stopped getting, I wouldn't say scared, but that lovely sort of adrenaline buzz, that quickening of breath and that tightness, I think when that goes away,
when your bum starts doing that,
I'll it'll be a sad day. So hopefully I am scared, and it's scared, and it's excitement, and it's please let this be something big, because I know that it's not just my eyes watching it, it's the camera, which is the eye of the viewers, you know, that's behind me. But there are times when I've been like, there's got to be an easier way to make living.
Yeah. I don't know. When you captured that little girl, I don't know where it was. But
Penhurst.
On the heat cam.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. That's like a wow moment, isn't it? It's like.
And she turned her so she was just appeared there, and she's on the thermal. The thermal imaging camera is there, and then next to it is just a regular infrared camera, you know, sort of the green thing going on. And then behind that, we were filming the same corridor and the screens on both cameras.
Yeah.
Because I thought, if something's going to happen, you know, then I want to catch it, and I want to be able to people to be able to sort of not as easily debunk. So sure enough, the one camera shows nothing, like in the corridor, and then the thermal lights up in the shape of a little like person.
Yeah.
And right out of a Spielberg movie. And then as soon as Heather says, "You're a beautiful little girl, we just want to talk to you," then you see that by the shape changing, the head turning round. Ooh, oh my God.
Goose pimple right there. That was like an amazing, that's a wow moment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And you know, you're always, I think, after that first huge, amazing gold nugget, you're just going out there in the river, and you're trying to get another one, you're trying to repeat the euphoria of that moment, of that experience, which can be disappointing because you have high expectations. But yeah, I wouldn't be doing anything else. This is the only thing that I've ever wanted to do in my life, is work in television, long before I thought I'd be a medium or what have you. And it organically transpired really through the inspiration of people like Jason Hawes, ghost hunters, to suddenly I thought, well, I can combine those two passions and together, and I've just really never looked back since then.
I just got a few more questions before I let you go, because I know I've had quite a bit of your time now. But have you ever had a proper like poltergeist? What's the best poltergeist activity you've had? Proper Beetlejuice moment. Something lobbed at you. Chair move.
Okay, so
Terrifying.
one time was at a place called Carbondale Nursing Home in Pennsylvania, near Scranton, and all the ground was like, it's just coal mining industry, coal mine shafts. I mean, everything's just like caving in all the time, you know. I mean, out there, Carbondale. There was one case in that former nursing home where I felt myself being strangled, and my eyes, you can see them, they're starting to pop out of my head, and I didn't feel like hands or anything, but it's just so weird, and it hadn't happened since. Well, one time since then, something similar, but it felt like something was making my throat close up from the inside, like pulling it in, like from the inside shut, like an anaphylactic reaction, only it wasn't, because Heather pulled me off from the camera guy, and she did the Lord's Prayer, and it was gone. It was gone, and that shook me up. But again, that left me wanting more. That nothing really ever got quite as tasty as that until we did an episode at White Hill Mansion in New Jersey, and that was amazing. All of us were stood on one side of a little speakeasy down in the basement. Well, three of us were, and three of us over the other side of the room, and two were sitting down, including our big tough director of photography, who don't know if I believe, you know, and a chair launches itself.
Wow.
That's two along from him, same side, launches into the air across the room. And the look on his face, man. I mean, it had to be the look on all of our faces. I get that, but he you see the whole thing. You see that we got everything. And it goes the way it goes, and it's like right in front of. You can see there's no wires. There's no. I mean, it's just pure gold.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That was an incredible moment, and that's actually the first time I've seen apportation on that level, which must take a lot of energy. I can imagine.
Have you experienced any ectoplasm? It's nothing like a juicy ghost.
Juicy ghost.
Juicy ghost. Ectoplasm. I've had drips drip on me, whether it was like cold or hot, but I don't know. I've been told that's ectoplasm.
Is it an adult? It's a family show, right? Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
So no, I haven't.
No?
I haven't. I was gonna make a hello, love. Hello, Daniel. Yeah, that is interesting because I've never. Not only have I never experienced it, but I don't know anyone. I don't think I've met anyone who has. So I wonder. I don't disbelieve it, but
if you go to a private haunted someone who's having issues in their home and that, sometimes there is the drops of water that just like drip on you.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's really like a battery, you know, and especially if it's a geologically related, you know, water or you know what have you.
Like in the Hinsdale house, there's the flies there and the smells and stuff.
Yeah,
it's all part of it, isn't it?
Well, there's no. I don't know if flies or smells there now. Dan's fixed it up good and proper. And it's in its 1970s heyday, you know, like restored just to how it was. But in the case of locations all over, like the Hinsdale included. It's really also about the geological site of location. You know, so for example, limestone is thought to be sort of a spiritual semiconductor just because of its properties. And water. Well, water is everywhere, and water, yeah, absolutely. We know, okay, from Dr. Emoto, who did experiments on molecules of water. If you're not familiar, look it up, Dr. Emoto, Emoto, and he played, you know, the Sex Pistols to one vial of water taken from a stream high in the mountains. You know, he played, you know, there were a lot of. He went to great lengths to collect them from different places, you know, holy places, these water samples, and played punk rock to one, played classical music, you know, Vivaldi to another, and, you know, Barry Manilow to another. His water's like, and examined them under an electron microscope after 2 days of, or I think 1 or 2 days of playing this music, different styles of music to them, and you can see the slides. If you go to if you look up Dr. Emoto, you'll see the slides from with the formations, the crystalline like formations of the water molecules, how different they are by what music they were exposed to. So what I'm saying by that is we're 90% water, 90% or more water, and so everything that's affecting us has to be affecting who we are and what we are, you know. So everything that has water within it is also going to be affected by its immediate environment. We know that water is affected by the vibrational energy of its environment. So it's interesting stuff, and that's why I like the literature of Mike Ricksecker, who from Ancient Aliens, and MikeRicksecker.com, because you know, he's really into the sort of like the physics of this whole thing, and fascinating.
I did a podcast with him. He is really, he's a clever guy.
Incredible.
Yeah. And water, like you say, passes through everything and everyone. So you can imagine where we've been and where it's been. You know,
and an unstoppable force is like David Tennant's 10th Doctor said, water always wins.
Yes.
And
we're all part of the universe, aren't we?
You can't, yes. And the funny thing is that, you know, what made us arrived on this planet, you know, it didn't just suddenly like, oh, here's Earth, and oh, look how lucky, it's a big green paradise for us that has everything that we need. No, it was all sort of like Amazon next day delivered to, or next century or next millennia delivery to Earth. Like the water that we drink and that we're made of. So everything affects everything and everything else.
Dan's got a question for you there. I have a question for Bobby. What fears and connected to your pursuit of success, and how have you faced them?
I can hear him laughing right now. So Dan, he knows I can't stand being called Bob, so that's he's filming on set with me in 2 weeks, so we'll see Bobby. What fears? A good question though. Connected to your pursuit of success. I think that I can be my own worst enemy. I think I can just worry so much about how I come across if I'm saying something or doing something that I just end up fucking it up, you know, and it can, I cringe, after, and I'm like, but so I think being misunderstood, and I think that happens. I think a lot of mediums get that. So in the pursuit of success for me is being able to make a difference, a positive difference in people's lives.
Yes, definitely. That's what you're doing. You got to trust in yourself, Rob.
Yeah. And so, I mean, the latter is always going to happen. How have you faced them? And I think, what I've done, what I try and do is what everyone tries to sort of strive to do is work on yourself every day and try to be the best possible version of yourself
100%
that you can to others. And so thanks. Good question, Danny.
Just be you, Rob. You're smashing it every day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just really lucky because I work surrounded by an amazing team of extraordinary, the cast and crew that I'm lucky enough to have on board are just incredible people, and they inspire me every day to do more, to do better, and to create content that's going to tell an exciting version of the true events that happened in our investigation. And I think that's the difference.
That is the mission, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that it's not on a network that's going to tell me you got to make this look scary, or you got to make that flyer. Yeah, so I mean, if I was going to bother doing any of that stuff, then I would have taken snapped up an offer, offer I had a few years back. But that'd be just living a lie.
It would. Yeah.
So I don't know how to do that because that's not who I am now, and it's not who I will ever be. I think that one of the things that really taught me a lot in the last 5 years is you have to consistency. So you have to walk the walk and talk the talk, and you just do the very best that you can for yourself and for others. And sometimes you're going to screw up.
Yeah.
Not because you're a bad person, but just because things didn't go the way you planned. And just learn, hopefully, and grow and move on and have positive intention in your heart. Yeah. Intention is absolutely everything.
And respect for the spirits. I refuse to believe that all this, as humans, what we are, all the love that we have, just disappears when your heart stops. I want to believe, I do believe that there is something more to this life when we pass.
I think we've had to. Yeah, well, especially with I feel like we're entering a new paradigm.
Yeah.
By that, I mean, we've all come through something very horrific. We've all come through the greatest pandemic in history, and a lot didn't. A lot of people didn't. But I think being so surrounded by death all around the world, and just no way of escaping it, on TV, everywhere, in the news, in our families, in our friends, just death, has made us more aware of what's next. Has made us stop and think, okay, well, I wonder where they are now, And I think much more than we ordinarily would have had that pandemic not happen. So I think more people are asking the question, and more people are wanting to really truly believe firsthand that there's more out there.
Yeah.
And just because you can't see or hear it doesn't mean it's there.
It's not there. No,
it's not there.
You're right. Your lovely friend down class has said thank you for a brilliant answer to that question. And one more question, Robert. If you had 3 wishes, what would you wish for and why? You're not going to go on War Peace with me and start spinning off glasses and making like...
Yeah, 3 wishes.
3 wishes.
I would say hindsight is 2020 vision. You can always say, well, if only I'd known. There are some decisions that I've made more recently that I wouldn't have made, that I would have avoided, or looked more into in my personal life, but also professionally. I don't see them as regrets, because hopefully I'll grow and I'll learn from them, and but I think that really it's I would have started my journey of self-discovery a lot earlier. I would have listened more to the universe showing me signs without the blinkers on. Nothing like I wish I was rich, because I feel I'm rich in that there are people around me that believe in me and in what I'm doing, and that's everything. So I'm rich in that regard. I just don't think it is a hard question. So that's the best I could be, because stuff doesn't mean really anything to me.
It doesn't.
I know so many people that are like driving around in their fancy cars, and they're having and that's great. That's good, because that's their life. It's none of my business.
Yeah.
But that's just not what inspires me and makes me go, what inspires me. Okay, I'll give you one. To be able to have honed this gift much earlier in life, so that I'd be around to help more people.
Oh, well, that's a lovely answer.
So we don't know, one call from the doctor, and you don't know how long you have. So make a difference in just one person's life, and you've got it. You've done it.
And what you do for people when you give them these readings is you give them peace.
Right.
Yeah. You give them peace in their hearts. Yeah.
I honestly, I find, and the Kleenexes are there while I'm giving a reading.
Yeah.
So I remember.
It's emotional.
Well, yeah, I remember, because I put them on the table when I'm at an event, and, for obvious reasons. And it's not just for whoever's sitting in my reading. It's for both of us, because I'm feeling what they're feeling.
Yeah.
And sort of in a funny way, you get to sort of like attached to these individuals. Did a reading last week, I think it was, and the lady's father who came through, he was just everything I wish I had a father would be, just the sense of humor, just the warmth, the energy, and I truly felt gifted to being able to experience that. So yeah, it's people don't think about it, but it's emotional. It's deeply emotional and draining, as well as uplifting for the person giving the reading. you know.
You have to take a step back from it after you've done all this, because you've got to have a bit of me time, or just go and chill out and do something for Rob, you know?
Yeah, well, sometimes you just sort of, I think it's like, I put it like this. I did 33 readings back to back at the Warren's Seekers of the Supernatural Paracon last October. And I don't know how, but it's a case of, you know, when you're trying to save money and turn the heat down, you know, it's like, well, you might as well just leave it, because you're going to take more heat to then heat that back up, more energy. So I just feel if I pace myself and I'm hot, you know, I'm not hot, but if my energy is hot, then I can keep going. Yeah, and that's easier than just sitting, you know, waiting for. I'm very fortunate that I don't have a whole lot of time when I'm, you know, at an event that I'm not giving readings, and it probably saves me a boatload of money, because otherwise I go buy everything from the vendors. So yeah, so that's what Heather's. Well, Heather can't either, because she's making the bookings and she's taking the money and stuff. Well, and she and merchandise. So my daughter, if you remember last Festival of the Unexplained, she had her own little table set. People were like, "Oh my gosh, she's so adorable," you know. And she was giving them nail graffiti, really, you know, nail art.
Yes.
With Sharpies. And they would just put in pound, you know, coins, you know, down, and she's just going at it. There's stuff like, I'm going to close my shop now, Dad. I'm going to go and have some juice because I'm tired. Just
it makes stuff she can sell.
Yeah. That she just likes being part of it. She's been traveling with the show since she was the haunted locations since she was like 6-7 weeks old. So she's my little up and coming medium.
Oh, so it's lovely. Right, last question, and it's a bit of a curveball. So, if you could have a dinner party with 3 people that have passed that inspire you, who would you have at this dinner party and why? I've got a feeling I might know one of them. One last dinner party.
Okay. So one of them, I think, would be Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, because
got a lot of questions to ask him. Definitely.
And
that is a brilliant answer, actually.
Yeah.
Plenty of bread and fish.
To be like pretty starstruck there.
Wine will be flowing.
Well, I figured if it's gonna be a Last Supper, then and then the other, gosh, the others point more to my vanity, I think, because I grew up with in the absence of a father figure in my life. For me, in a funny sort of way, Elvis Presley was sort of my make-believe dad, you know. So
cool.
He was my like idol. So yeah, definitely.
Music and food. So we're doing all right.
Third would be my Aunt Jenny.
Oh.
Because she was just the sweetest, most genuine, real person like that I ever knew, you know. And just an extraordinary human being that cared so deeply for everyone around her. She didn't know them. Yeah, so that'd be an interesting evening.
No way. That would be a great party.
Yeah,
it would be an awesome party.
yeah.
I like that idea.
That's a really good question. That was a really good question. Who asked that question?
Thanks, Rob. I stole that. That's little Joe. She can take credit for that one. I was like, we got to have like a last question that we can ask our guests that would really like throw them off. And she's like, well, why don't you ask that one? And you get so many different answers as well.
Yeah.
I think Neil Stories was Bram Stoker. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He loves that guy, doesn't he? Yeah,
yes.
He loves Bram Stoker.
Just a little.
I think the other one he said was, Jack the Ripper, one of the first girls that he murdered. And he said because he'd like to ask her what actually happened. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
and of course through DNA, his identity was recently, confirmed. He was a Polish immigrant, and everyone thought it could be, one of royalty. Royalty.
For real?
Yeah.
Really?
It was genetic. Genetically revealed. Now, Mike Rickson, my good old British friend and novelist, gazillion, Mr. Richard E. Stepp, who was also has been on so many different shows, and he would be the guy to get on here to talk about stuff like that, or Neil Story, and or Penny. Or God, I mean, it's great. And you know what? This is what I love more than anything else. It's the places that you get to visit and the people that you meet. Just the people that you meet that impart their energies on you, and hopefully you do on them in a positive way. It's just is what I think life is about. It's all about relationships.
Yeah, 100%. We're networking, Rob. We're spreading the paranormal love, aren't we?
We are. So I want to bring. I think we're going to be next year bringing a show to the UK that is a little different than you might think, and by that, the participants aren't going to know in advance that they're going to be on TV. There's just going to be a knock at the door.
Oh, that'd be super cool.
How good. Hello. You didn't think that your postcard was going to get an answer, did you? Yeah. I like that, because I think that when you're too prepared, there's such a thing as being too prepared for something like that, and I think you would tend to overthink.
Yeah.
And you get all kinds of preconceived notions about, I wonder if I see this, and I'm gonna see the ghost that's called Joey that appears on the third floor, because you've heard it all.
Yeah.
And you've just, you have all these presuppositions floating around in your head.
Think about it too much.
Well, yeah, and then you can, and then I think that it lends itself to pareidolia, or a kind of expectation that's not going to happen. So if you don't know anything about a building, or if you know as little as possible, then it makes it that much more, speaking as a medium, exciting for me.
Yeah, definitely.
And I know, because Steve and Dan boot me out of production meetings, and like, well, we've now come to the place in the meeting where Rob has to leave, and so that's when I'll go out there and take a walk around the hotel. But you know what? It's all fantastic. This season is gonna blow your brains out.
Yeah.
The stuff that's happened on the first couple of shoots alone, mega excitement, bonkers.
Look forward to streaming that.
Yeah, and it'll all be going up as well on different streaming platforms, which we're working out right now.
And the release date for that, we got a release date yet?
Yes, September 15th.
Brilliant. Right, so everyone watching, make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be awesome.
All right.
So,
well, darling, where has 5 hours gone?
Oh, flipping heck. How much do I owe you?
No. Goes in the mail.
Bill me.
And no, I can't thank you enough, because this has been just so much fun.
It was fantastic.
Sorry, just a dead ringer. I bet you I know who that is.
Ghost Finders.
It's called the Ghost Finders. And
the Ghost Finders. Streaming on Amazon.
I'm just looking to see if I missed any questions. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And
great.
I can't wait to see you again, darling, in a few months' time.
Can you plug where people can find you?
Where they can find me?
Yeah.
Well, if you go up Interstate 95 and you take a left. Oh, okay. So if you go at Rob Thompson Spirit Medium, which is a bit of a mouthful, but @ Rob Thompson Spirit Medium is my Facebook page, and some of the other stuff is on there for other social media. And then you can also go to my website, which is nice and short and succinct, spiritmedium.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rob. And I look forward to seeing you at the festival at The Unexplained.
Can't wait. Thanks so much. Bless you. Bless you. Mwah.
And I'll put you back in the old green room and we'll have a little chit chat after, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you could, because there's some the pineapple and the sushi is really good.
Don't drink all that pink gin. Okay.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about that. Didn't know what that was.
And guys, thanks for watching. And if you want to go on a ghost hunt, just look up portal to the paranormal.co.uk and look at our events list. I think the next one's Groundlands Theatre on the when is it? The 8th of July. Okay, well, thanks. Ciao for now. And thank you, Rob, for chit-chatting with us. Bye.